Navajo Rugs, Week 5. Here are some samples of beautiful Navajo rugs. Loom. The Navajo loom is upright as opposed to the horizontal type used in Mexican and Spanish weaving. Take a look at the picture, how it stands tall in the center of the photo. The products of the Navajo loom are true Native American folk art. It was born on the loom of the Pueblo Indians of the Southwest, who wove cotton apparel and later with the wool of Spanish sheep acquired by raiding Spanish ranchers in the mid-17th century. The famed chief blankets and serape were developed during the 19th century and became highly prized trade items. Very few pieces from the early era survive, and those that do are housed mostly in museums and private collections. In the early 1820s, Navajo bands raided Spanish ranches. The more sheep a man had, the greater his wealth, and sheep provided food, fiber, and riches. The Navajo bands drove home the sheep that provided the wool for the talented weavers. It is important to realize that the Navajo rug is 100% handmade. There are no machine-made Navajo rugs. This is the Chantlin blanket. The Chantlin blanket passed down to Loren Kreitzer is shown here in its original state. He thought it was worthless. The blanket's origins date back to 1840 when it was hand-woven with dyed wool. The textile is one of the finest and rarest Navajo chief's blankets in the world, according to the noted appraiser and specialist Joshua Bear. Do you want to guess how much this blanket sold for at auction in 1983? Take a guess before you hit the next slide. The Chantlin blanket, it sold at auction in New York in 1983 for $1.8 million. Here are some images of Navajo weavers. Most Navajo weavers were women. Patterns and designs were rarely diagrammed or drawn. The youngest weaver is taught to plan her designs and colors in her head and to visualize the completed project. Here's a sample of a Navajo rug. Another sample. Here are samples of Navajo rugs that are for sale right now. Please pause this video. Here are your materials that are needed to make your Navajo rug. You will need a black crayon or an oil pastel if you have one, a sheet of construction paper, crayons or oil pastels if you have them. Pastels work better for this project, but crayons will work if you press hard. Let's begin. Here are some patterns borrowed from Navajo blankets. They're very geometric. This is a direction paper of what we're going to be doing next. So please grab your construction paper and grab your black crayon or black oil pastel. You're going to take your construction paper and fold a piece in half, like a card. It should look like this. With your crayon or black pastel, on the front of it, you're going to draw lines from top to bottom. Like I said, oil pastels work much better than a crayon. You can use a black crayon, but please press heavy. Now, you're going to open the card up and fold it back, and this will put the lines on the inside of the card. That's also called a reverse fold. Boys and girls, you're going to rub over the top of the paper with the lines inside with the handle of your scissors. You're going to rub the handle on top of your paper. This is called burnishing, and it will transfer those lines to the other side of the inside of the card. Do you see that blue paper? See how the lines were transferred to the other side just by rubbing the top of the card? Kind of cool, huh? Now you're going to open up your card. Those transferred lines where the arrow is pointing, you're going to trace over those with your black crayon or black oil pastels to make them match the first side. Both sides should be dark black. Last, and this is the fun part, we will color in between each one of those lines. Now we're going to be coloring symmetrically. So I want you to start in the middle, right on the fold. You're going to color that one color. When you move outward, do you see the yellow that's next to the purple? You have to put that on each side of the card. The same with the orange, the same with the pink, the same with the blue. This is called symmetrical, meaning the same on both sides. Please start in the middle. Now, boys and girls, this next step is optional if you have yarn at home. If you have yarn, I want you to cut pieces into 4-inch lengths, and you're going to poke holes on the end of your paper. You're going to feed those pieces of yarn inside each hole and tie them. This creates a decorative edge, like a rug. If you don't have yarn, it's okay. You don't need to do this step. But if you want to take it a step further, go ahead and do it. Boys and girls, you're now done. It's time to upload your Navajo rug to Artsonia. There's a gallery for it. Please take a picture of your artwork and follow the directions that are listed here. Please print out the email that I sent to your family on September 15th. It has the art QR codes, and it's also on your Clever page too. It makes this step 100% easier if you print out the paper of the QR codes. It's on your Clever page right next to your lesson, and it's also an email that I sent out. Good luck. Bup, bup, ba, dup, bup. Clean up.